Now at 5, debate over whether to decriminalize fentanyl test strips in Kansas, plus why a local company is sending robots to the Super Bowl, and
from tailgate parties to an interactive NFL experience, I'm Danya Backus with all the sights and sounds of Super Bowl 57.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Kansas Governor Laura Kelly wants fentanyl test strips decriminalized in the state. Thanks for joining us for KOAM News at 5. I'm Dow Quick. Fentanyl test strips are currently illegal to use in Kansas. Governor Kelly has said use of the strips could save lives. The strips detect if a drug contains the opioid fentanyl, which can be deadly in small doses. Cherokee County Sheriff says there are arguments on both sides about legalizing these strips. While people should never use illegal substances, on the other hand, the strips can spot deadly fentanyl.
Generally, we see drug trends on the east and west coast, and they eventually, merge into the middle of the country. And that's what we're seeing now. We're seeing an uptick in those types of cases. We're seeing an uptick in incidences where emergency responders are getting called to potential overdoses.
Grove says law enforcement officers in the region carry Narcan, a nasal spray to treat opioid overdoses. That's because in many cases they arrive on medical emergency scenes before ambulances arrive. Authorities in Texas are trying to identify a Jane Doe they believe to be a girl who disappeared from northeast Oklahoma nearly 45 years ago. 12-year-old Cheryl Taylor of Pitcher, Oklahoma was last seen there on July 28th of 1978. According to Mark Wall, who's part of the Ottawa and Delaware County Cold Case Unit, they have a break in the case, possibly. His investigation turned up the body of a teenage Jane Doe in Texas, and they're trying to match DNA samples to identify her. Wall believes it is Cheryl, but authorities are trying to find relatives of Cheryl for DNA comparisons. A Carl Junction robotics company is sending some robots to the Super Bowl. Stocks Robotics develops STEM education and curriculum products for educational markets in the U.S. Their robots will join singer Jason Derulo and his team as they perform. They'll have on-site rehearsals tomorrow, and the concert will be on Sunday.
We're working in conjunction with our customer, which is TLC Creative. They're out of Marina Del Rey, California. They purchased one of our robots to do some development with it, and they work in the entertainment industry. They asked us to help write some programs, bring some more robots out. They had an event.
Stokes Robotics provides robotic packages for law enforcement, agriculture, manufacturing, and other industries. Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Doug Heddy for a first look at the weather.
Well, of course, we had a few rain and snow showers across the region late last night into the morning hours. It really didn't amount to anything, but cloudy skies all day long. But finally, the clouds are breaking up, so we're getting a little bit of sunshine out there. It is going to be a fairly cool evening. You can see the storm system wrapping up across the southern parts of the plains, actually intensifying, but it's heading away from us. So this is going to actually set us up to see a pretty good weekend. But look at our temps, 15 to 20 degrees cooler right now than what we had this time last night. 41 in Stockton, 37 in Miami, 35 in Anderson. Parsons is sitting at about 41 degrees. We are going to see a nice warm up over the weekend. 2 systems next week, thunderstorms on Tuesday. We're going to break it all down for you here in just a bit.
See you then. A U.S. military fighter jet has shot down an unknown object flying over the coast of Alaska. That's according to White House officials today. A National Security Council spokesman says the object was flying at about 40,000 feet and posed a, quote, reasonable threat to the safety of civilian flights. President Biden ordered the military to down the object, which the spokesman described as roughly the size of a small car. U.S. officials now say that Chinese spy balloon shot down off the coast of South Carolina nearly a week ago apparently was trying to monitor nuclear command and control communications. The Navy has now recovered some of the balloon's scaffolding and electronics, but crucial surveillance equipment remains on the seafloor. Rough seas are slowing down the recovery efforts, so the Navy is taking steps to weigh the rest of the debris to prevent it from drifting until it can be reached. The death toll from the earthquake that rocked Turkey and Syria has now topped 23,000. Rescuers pulled several earthquake survivors from the shattered remnants of buildings today, including some who lasted more than 100 hours trapped under crushed concrete. Hundreds of thousands of people are homeless. They're camping out in the cold in the shadow of rescue efforts, too scared to return home even if their buildings still stand. Rescuers flew more than a dozen babies orphaned in the disaster out of the quake zone to a hospital in Turkey's capital. While the Chiefs and Eagles are fine-tuning their Super Bowl game plan, their fans are also getting ready for the biggest game of the year. Reporter Danya Bacchus is with fans in Phoenix, Arizona, where the pregame excitement is building fast.
Fans are flocking to Phoenix for Super Bowl 57.
And it's just like a dream to have us go to the Super Bowl again so quickly. Fly, Eagles, fly.
And representing the team they believe will take home the Vince Lombardi Trophy.
Hopefully Chiefs is like maybe about 36 to 20.
From tailgate parties to the Super Bowl experience, even the youngest fans are jumping with excitement.
Who do you think's going to win the Super Bowl?
Chiefs! There's one thing to say and one thing only. They're better.
This year's game has a little something for everyone. Fans here in Arizona and those watching at home will witness history both on and off the field. Let's start with Jason and Travis Kelce, two brothers playing against each other in the Super Bowl for the first time. Mom has a custom-made jersey.
We're very fortunate. We're very proud of them. We're going to be happy for whatever team. I just hope it's high scoring and everybody's having a good time.
Autumn Lockwood will have a perfect view of the brothers on the sideline. The Eagles' assistant sports performance coach is the first black woman to coach in the Super Bowl.
It's a big deal because nobody's used to it.
The quarterbacks are also breaking new ground. Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts will be the first black quarterbacks to go head-to-head in the big game.
If you think about Jackie Robinson and people that broke the color barrier in baseball, I wouldn't be standing here today if it wasn't for them.
And to celebrate 50 years of women flying in the Navy, the pregame flyover will be piloted by an all-female crew. One more first for Super Bowl 57. Danya Bacchus, CBS News, Phoenix, Arizona.
And of course, you can watch the game Sunday on Fox 14. Still ahead, a stomach virus sweeping our nation.
The CDC says norovirus outbreaks are up significantly compared to last season, affecting millions of families. I'm Bradley Blackburn with more on the winter stomach bug that can be uncomfortable and dangerous.
Plus, what we're learning about smoking and COVID-19. Those stories next in Health Watch. Topping today's Health Watch, the CDC says highly contagious stomach bugs are spreading across the country. Outbreaks of norovirus are up this season, and cases can be more than uncomfortable. They can be dangerous. Bradley Blackburn has more.
The stomach bug known as norovirus is estimated to infect some 20 million Americans every year, causing nearly 500,000 emergency room visits annually, many of them young children. The CDC tracks data in 14 states across the country, and 225 outbreaks were recorded from August of 2022 through this past January. That's up from 172 outbreaks from the previous time period. It's within expected range, but Dr. William Schaffner with Vanderbilt University Medical Center says it's still a concern.
We've had COVID, we've had influenza, RSV, and now norovirus, which has that unfortunate nickname, winter vomiting disease. And so it's out there, no doubt.
Norovirus is a known problem on cruise ships, but the truth is that it can spread anywhere easily through contact with an infected person, ingesting contaminated food or water, or touching surfaces with the virus and then touching your mouth. Symptoms can include diarrhea, vomiting, nausea, and stomach pain.
So obviously it can run in families pretty easily.
Oh, yes. This is an extraordinarily contagious virus, so that if someone gets this illness and obviously brings it home, it is very likely that most of the other family members will become infected.
The elderly and the very young are most at risk for the worst cases, but doctors say prevention goes a long way, and it's simple.
A lot of good hand hygiene.
Wash your hands often and stay home if you're sick, to spare others from a bug that nobody wants. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
Now, because the virus can spread through food, the CDC also says you should wash fruits and vegetables well and make sure you cook foods like shellfish thoroughly. Smoking is known to inflame and irritate the lungs, and a new study finds it might also increase the risk of severe COVID-19 illness among otherwise healthy young people. Researchers at UCLA tracked more than 100 young people and found levels of certain proteins that help the virus replicate were higher in those who smoke tobacco or vape compared to non-smokers. A common antibiotic could dramatically reduce the risk of death after childbirth for women in low and middle income countries. A study in the New England Journal of Medicine finds a single oral dose of azithromycin during labor lowers the risk of postpartum sepsis or mortality by 30%. Researchers say pregnancy-related infections account for 10% of maternal deaths nationwide, worldwide in fact. And a Canadian study shows that high levels of physical activity are not enough to offset the obesity risk for kids who have too much screen time. Researchers say adolescents should limit screen time to less than 4 hours per day and take at least 12,000 steps to lower the risk of obesity. And that is a look at today's health news. Later, super snacks.
Eating during the Super Bowl is a sport in and of itself. I'm Cristian Benavides with a look at the foods that are more expensive this year and the fan favorites that are actually cheaper.
Plus, as we head into Super Bowl weekend, temperatures start to warm back up. We're going to look at that coming up. Well, it definitely turned out to be kind of a dreary Friday for us today. We had some rain, snow showers late last night into the morning hours. It melted on impact, so we didn't have to deal with any accumulations across the region. But we did deal with the clouds all day long for us today. But over the past couple hours, they've been breaking up just a bit. So we're getting at least a little bit of sunshine out there. Still mostly cloudy skies, indigo sky. Casino just outside of Seneca, Missouri. All right, Lamar 39, 41 in Nevada. It's actually a little warmer in our northern counties because they have seen a little bit more sunshine compared to 33 in Neosho, 35 in Anderson. Grand Lake is sitting at about 36 degrees. It looks good. 7th and Rangeline, sun has popped out, 36. Southerly winds are light. Humidity is at 67%. Through the evening hours, if you are getting out and about this evening, we are going to be dry. It's going to be cold. We're going to slide back through the 30s. Clear skies eventually down to about 24 later on tonight. So it is definitely going to be a cold night. But you can see those clouds. Look at the back edge kind of sinking just south of Interstate 44. So that's why Indigo still has the clouds. But at 7th and Rangeline, we have pretty much clear skies. And most of us are going to have clear skies tonight. All right, here's the little system that passed through last night. It's actually intensifying just to our south and becomes a very strong storm system as it rolls across the southern parts of the plains. You can see that area of low pressure right across southern parts of Oklahoma. We're not going to have to deal with it. Here's our next storm system. This will start to affect us late Monday into Tuesday. Until then, we actually get pretty good weather. So let's go through time. We're going to stop tomorrow morning. It's cold, clear skies, upper teens to lower 20s across the region. As we go through the morning hours, look at the winds. They start to shift out of the south, and that's going to help our temperatures warm up as we go through the weekend. So lower 40s by noon. I think most of us are going to push 50 during the afternoon, which is pretty good news. 24 in the morning, 43 by noon, up to about 49 as we head into the afternoon hours. Tomorrow night, still cold, not quite as cold, but still cold. We drop back into the upper 20s. Let's go into Super Bowl Sunday. We do get a lot of clouds, but look at these temperatures. We're into the upper 50s for afternoon highs. It is going to be a little bit on the windy side. So here's your Super Bowl Sunday planner. Of course, if you are heading out, going to any parties, 3 p.m., 56, 53 by 6. We'll drop back to 45 by 9 p.m., but a high temp of 57 degrees. So we really can't ask for much better weather as we go into Super Bowl Sunday. Even Monday, temperature is pretty good, but here comes our next storm system. Thunderstorms start to roll in just in time for Tuesday morning, but at least we get a couple really nice days. 51 tomorrow, 57 on Sunday, near 60 on Monday. Thunderstorms Tuesday, could get a little bit of snow late Wednesday into Thursday. Arctic air rolls in. We'll talk a little more about that at 6, but I'm just excited to have a pretty nice weekend.
Perfect weather to be inside watching your television come Sunday evening.
You can get outside tomorrow and do stuff. Sunday you stay inside.
Yeah, rain, shine, cold, hot, it wouldn't matter. We'd all be inside.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Doug. Coming up in Consumer Watch, the cost of some Super Bowl food favorites. Topping today's Consumer Watch, the Labor Department says claims for state unemployment benefits rose higher than expected to 196,000 last week. This comes as more major companies, including Zoom and Disney, announced layoffs this week. Economists say all the high-profile layoffs recently are because big companies overhired during the pandemic. Meanwhile, there are more job cuts coming in the tech industry. Yahoo announced it'll lay off 20% of its workforce, including 1,000 employees this week. The company says it's restructuring. Super Bowl Sunday is second only to Thanksgiving when it comes to the amount of food we Americans eat. Thanks to inflation, many of those dishes are more expensive this year, but Christian Benavides found out some favorites have actually gone down in price.
Cheers.
The game plan for Jade Bauer and Eric Haas this Sunday is to enjoy plenty of food.
I do love wings, pizza, just all the bad stuff. You can feel crappy about it the next day.
When it comes to Super Bowl, number one, you have to have a lot of dip and a lot of wings. That's crucial.
And wings are a fan favorite at the American Social Sports Bar in Miami.
What's this place going to look like on Super Bowl Sunday? Is it going to be packed?
Oh, it's going to be packed shoulder to shoulder. Walking is going to be a little bit difficult getting around.
The National Chicken Council projects Americans will consume almost 1.5 billion wings this weekend. That's enough to circle the circumference of the Earth 3 times. People buying their wings at the grocery store should find prices about 17% lower than last year.
The reason we're seeing chicken wing prices down, we're seeing more supply out there.
Courtney Smith from Wells Fargo says guacamole fans also have something to cheer about. Avocados have dropped 27% in price. But the celebration ends there because items from the snack aisle cost 11% more. And beer is up 8.6% over last year. Schmidt says shoppers can still find deals with a little research.
Different stores will have different foods that they're promoting. Get online, do a little bit of homework before you go out, see where you can really save money.
What's the marinade on that?
Bauer plans to lay out a big spread at his Super Bowl party.
We'll always have more than we need, right? You never send people away hungry.
One thing that will stay undefeated this Sunday is America's love of food. Christian Benavides, CBS News, Miami.
Yeah, he said enough chicken wings to encircle the earth 3 times. A report released by the Bureau of Labor Statistics last month showed overall grocery store prices are up nearly 12% and eating out costs 8.3% more. A final check of the forecast next. Up next on the CBS Evening News, with Valentine's Day around the corner, we're going to look at the exploding trend of lab-grown diamonds. Then on KOAM News at 6, Joplin police are searching for a person of interest in a shooting investigation. Plus, our profile of a budding journalist, KOAM's own Amber Jenkins. And we're going to hear from the Pitt State women's basketball team as they aim to snap Missouri Southern's 9-game winning streak tomorrow. Stay with us, CBS Evening News. And then KOAM News at 6. After a cold night tonight, we're looking forward to warmer temps this weekend.
Yeah, the weekend's actually going to be really nice. We're going to have plenty of sunshine as we go into Saturday. A few clouds late Sunday, but look at these temps. 51 tomorrow, 57 on Super Bowl Sunday, near 60 on Monday. Enjoy the nice weather, but stay inside Sunday evening.
And cheer on those Chiefs. Yeah. Thanks for joining us. CBS Evening News is next. Of course, we'll be right back here for KOAM News at 6. Let's make it a great evening.